Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make your own homemade sauerkraut. And I just harvested a bunch of these beautiful cabbages out of my backyard, and I want to preserve some of them so that I can take them with me when I move to my new property. Anywho, so I have a bunch of these cabbages and I want to make some sauerkraut with them, and I've never made sauerkraut before, so we're kind of going to be doing this together for the first time. So if you guys want to see how to make your own homemade sauerkraut, then just keep on watching. So to do this particular process of making sauerkraut, you will only need 2 ingredients. So that is your cabbage and just your kosher salt. And then you're going to need a few things, obviously, to prepare it. So you're going to want some type of instrument to smash the cabbage. And then you're going to want it like a pestle or something else to kind of mash it into or pack it into the mason jar. And then, of course, you're going to want a mason jar. So those are all the different things you're going to need. Also, if you want to add some different spices to your sauerkraut, you are more than welcome to do that. And I have been actually just adding some whole black pepper. You can add dill seeds. You can add whatever kind of seeds you want. I particularly don't like any of those seeds, so I just add pepper. That is basically it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so my work area is pretty dirty already. That's because I've done quite a few batches, so I could just get a hang of things before I, try to make a video doing it. So, anywho, the first thing you're going to do is remove a couple of the outer layers of the cabbage, and especially any of them that have any holes or black spots or anything like that. So, I'm just going to remove the 2 outer layers. And then I'm going to remove actually 1 more, and that's because we need to create like a little barrier for the inside of the mason jar. So that is going to be my barrier layer. And then I'm just going to go wash this again and just make sure it's all nice and dirt free. Okay, so now the second thing I want to do is just cut off the bottom, and then you're just going to want to cut the cabbage completely in half. Wow, look at how beautiful that is. Okay, and then you're going to want to cut it again in half, in a quarter. And then you're just going to want to cut that hard core out. This one's a little bit different than the other ones I've had. Looks like it's a little bit more dense. Just cut that out like that. And then I just like to flip it over and then cut my thin strips for the sauerkraut. Okay. And you're just going to pick up those and you're just going to set them inside of a bowl and off to the side. Cut up some of these larger chunks again. And then you're just going to do that to all of your quarters. You're going to do that to your entire cabbage. Cut it up into 4 quarters and then just slice them up and set them in your bowl. It's probably the largest cabbage I've had yet. I mean, that is huge. Holy crap. I didn't even weigh that cabbage. I'm kind of sad. I should have weighed it first. That's okay. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab your salt, and you're going to measure out about a tablespoon of salt. And you're just going to sprinkle it on top and kind of just move it around and try to kind of mix it all up in there, just like that. Now you're just going to take your hand and you're just going to kind of try to mash up the cabbage while you're kind of also mixing it up. Now if you lose some cabbages, that's okay, because that's just going to happen. You're really just going to try to mix up all that salt and also just kind of toss it. Now you're just going to want to start mashing it. You can use whatever you want. I'm just using this potato masher because it works best. And you're literally just going to start mashing the crap out of it just like this. So just kind of just mash as hard as you can. And then give it a good little toss. And then keep mashing it. So you're just going to want to basically just mash and rotate all of the ingredients in there so they can all get mashed pretty evenly. And you're going to do that for about, probably at least about 5 minutes, until the cabbage starts getting wilty and starts getting pretty juicy. So I'm going to go ahead and mash this down, and then I'll see you guys in about 5 or so minutes. Okay, so when your cabbage is all mashed up and probably at the right texture, it's going to look something like this. It's going to be really wilty and very juicy, and you'll have a collection of juice on the bottom of your bowl. And this is how you know when you can stop mashing and start putting it inside the jar. So I will go ahead and get off my finger. I will go ahead and show you guys how I do that right now. Okay, so you're going to take your clean mason jar and you're just going to start packing that cabbage inside of your mason jar. You can use something to kind of mash down the cabbage as you go. Just gonna add it in there just like that. No, I don't think that this entire cabbage is going to fit in this one mason jar, because you really don't want to fill them up too tall, because it will expand in the fermentation process. And if it expands too much and you've got too much in the jar, it will go over the sides of the jar and kind of spill over, and you'll lose all of your flavors from your juices. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit more, and then I'm just going to in this jar and then put the rest in another jar. Okay. Maybe dump a little bit of that brine in here. There we go. And that brine is just what it created on itself. I didn't put any actual real brine in there. So this is the leaf that we saved for our little barrier. Their mason, and just set it on top, and then cut a circle around it. just like that. Have your little circle, and you're going to set that inside of the mason jar and over the top of the cabbage, just like that. It's creating a little barrier, and then you need something heavy to kind of weigh it all down so that it all stays below the brine. So I've just been using these glass shot glasses, and I'm just setting them in the jar on top and just closing it up. So you're just going to put your regular lid on, and then you're just going to screw it on. It's a little tight in there, but that's good. So you're going to screw it on tight, and then you're just going to do 1/2 turn. Okay, so here are my finished jars. And so basically now I'm going to set them in a cool, dark place, and I'm going to let them ferment over a span of a couple of weeks to a couple of months, just depending on the tanginess that I desire. I will taste it throughout the fermentation process to kind of see and gauge what I like it. So there is going to be pressure that builds in the first couple of weeks excuse me, of the fermentation process. So you can go and kind of burp your jars just to ensure that the glass won't break on you. And I would also recommend writing the date on the side of the jar with a marker, just so you know exactly the date that you started the fermentation process. And if you keep it in an area that's warmer than 75 degrees, it will cause it to ferment really fast, which will give it kind of a green flavor, which is not really very good. So try to keep it like in a closet or a basement, somewhere where it's pretty cool. And obviously if you have it somewhere where it's got a lot of light, you just want to cover it with a towel or something like that. So the fermentation is going to occur underneath the brine. So after the first day or two, if your kraut is still kind of dry, you can make like a little brine to add on top, and that is just going to be 1/2 teaspoon salt with 1/2 cup of water. And I'd recommend boiling that and letting it cool, just so it's all sanitized and like just good to go. So within a day or two, the fermentation process will start, and the cabbage will lose the bright green color, and it will start to bubble throughout, and it will get kind of foamy on top, it says. So it says it's going to swell up almost to the top of the jar, and this is why it's important to leave some space on the top of the jar for it to expand. And then it says about between 2 to 4 weeks, the bubbles will stop, and that's because different bacteria is growing and it's becoming more acidic, and other bacteria are dying off, etc., etc. Some people mistake that when the bubbles are done that the sauerkraut is finished, but it says right here that it is not. You can sample it at that point and see if it's at the tanginess if you like. If it still tastes raw or is crunchy, it obviously has more time. It needs to ferment more. And that is about it. So it says that, sauerkraut, when it's done, it kind of just depends on your climate and your taste. So just keep at it. Some people have it done as little as 4 weeks, and some, probably as long as 6 to 7 weeks. So just keep tasting it every day and kind of let it do its thing, and let me know if you guys do this yourself and how it comes out in the comments section below. I'm really eager to hear if you guys did this yourself, and I will probably do a second video once all of this is done of how to then can it and preserve it to put it in your cupboard. So that is it for this video. If you guys did like this, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to be and you have not already. I will see you guys in my next video. Take care.